Hi, how are you tonight? I'm Roberta Colasino, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from Pompano Beach, Florida, usually from upstate New York. And I'm bringing you a product-based class tonight using a product from the mini catalog. I want to call it the spring catalog, but we don't call it that anymore. So the mini catalog, and I will turn the camera down so that we can get started pretty much right away. All right, so hang on just a second. I had to move things around again, so the view is possibly a little strange. I'm honestly not sure what it's going to look like, but we will make it work somehow. All right, just gathering my things here, and we'll turn the camera down and we'll get started right away. Let's see, cover you up a little bit so you don't get sick. All right, and here's where I'm not sure where we're aiming. Let's see, that's not bad, but it's not exactly right either. Let's see, I'm gonna go backwards with this thing, and then tilt this way with this thing. That doesn't look too bad. Okay, and then of course there's the wire. We got to get rid of the wire. Well, let's see. Okay, it's a little bit of a balancing act, but I think it's going to work. And I'm using my iPad instead of my computer, so there we go. All right, I'm here. So let's get back to where I started from. So here is my host code for the month of February. I can't believe it's February, but it is. And if you make a purchase, that will be over $150 before tax and shipping. Use this host code. If your order goes over $150, then please do not use the host code because you will earn some rewards. All right, this is my prompts calendar for the month of February, and thank you for those who participated in January. Take a look at it and see what you can find. There are some ideas for things to work on and so on in there, and some opportunities to win a prize. Okay, so we are looking at or working out of this catalog today. I can never find the front. There we go, maybe, yes, no? There we go. We are working out of this catalog today, and this is the January to April 2025 mini catalog. Although the end of the sales period, according to what's on the back of the catalog, if you look at your catalog, it's kind of in small print, but there's always something that tells you what the last sale date is. And in this case, the last sale date is actually May 5th. So we're calling it the January to April catalog, but according to this, the last sale date is May 5th. Now, if I find out that that's not true, or I find out otherwise, I will certainly let you know. So we're going to be using the With You in Mind stamp set. This is what we call a standalone stamp set, which means it doesn't come with dies or punches or anything else. It's just a stamp set. So that, of course, means that there could be some fussy cutting going on if you want to use some of these images, but I'll show you some other ways that you could do that as well without the fussy cutting. It's entirely up to you, whether you fussy cut or not. I was actually out by the pool today sitting at a table fussy cutting, and a woman actually offered to help me. I don't know that that's ever happened before. Oh, I'm frozen again, and our friend, okay, you need to stop. Our friend SIRI thinks I'm talking to him apparently, and so he's stopped everything. Oh, that's so annoying. Okay, I think I'm probably still okay even though I'm frozen on my iPad. I'm just going to say it. Hey Siri, cancel. Okay, he went away for now. I don't know what it is that I say that sounds like he thinks I'm talking to him, but I'm not. Anyway, this is a very cute little stamp set, and while it seems to certainly be mostly birthday, it's also thinking of you, thank you, and best wishes. So don't let it fool you. It's a multi-purpose stamp set, and those are always the good ones that you want to have in your stash for sure. So today I'm doing exactly what I did last week with a couple of changes. Last week what I did was I did what we call casing the catalog. Casing the catalog, the word case, at least in the Stampin' Up! World. Hey Siri, go away, cancel. Okay, I'm sorry. That means each of the letters stands for something. So it means copy and share everything, or it can mean copy and selectively edit. It can mean a couple of different things. But the idea is that, first of all, they want you to know, Stampin' Up! Wants you to know that if they have a picture of a card or any type of a project in their catalog, it's absolutely up for grabs, right? It's not copyrighted in the sense that you can't copy it. It's copyrighted in the sense that, yes, everybody should know that these are Stampin' Up! Stamps. If you do sell the cards that you make or the projects that you make, Stampin' Up! Does have what's called an angel policy, as do many, if not all, of the stamp makers. And that just says that if you are going to sell cards made with Stampin' Up! Products, in particular the Stampin' Up! Images and sentiments, that you have a little stamp, and you can either have one made or you can have one approved through Stampin' Up! That just says copyright Stampin' Up! On it. Simple as that, so that people know who the products belong to. All right, but that's probably a non-issue for 90% of you, if not more. Anyway, so I'm casing the card. I may change up a couple of colors, but basically I'm making these two cards, another card, a different card, and then I'm making one of these tags today, okay? And I promise to try to not have it go over as much as it did last week. I don't know, sometimes I just can't seem to avoid that, and I don't know why. Also, a quick reminder that this is Celebration, and during Celebration time, when you do make a purchase, you can earn free products. So with a $60 purchase, you can earn some free products. If you go back to last week's video, you can see the things that you can earn, so keep that in mind as well. If you do place an order, it should prompt you to ask you if you want to get anything from Celebration, but just in case it doesn't, you should be aware of it. Okay, so my color palette for the first card, which is just a little bit different from the one that they made in the catalog, is Pretty Pink, Pretty in Pink, Peach Pie, and then I added Lemon Lime Twist in place of the other color. Alright, so what I needed to do was I got out the three colors, and I'm missing one for some reason. I got out the three colors. Oh, I know why I'm missing one. Okay, you'll see in a minute. I got out the three colors, and I cut a 5.5 by 4 1/4 piece of each one. So basically a quarter sheet of paper. All right, cut out that from each one. And then what I did, so we'll take the Lemon Lime Twist as an example. What I did was I took some Lemon Lime Twist ink, and this is one of the things you'll always hear me rave about Stampin' Up! Is their color compatibility. So the paper matches the ink, matches the markers, matches the designer series paper colors. Everything's coordinated, so you don't have to worry about, are you the kind of person who sometimes thinks you have a perfect match for a blouse that you have, and then you get home and you realize it wasn't even close to being a perfect match? So it saves you the trouble of doing that. So I'm using the star stamp, okay, and using that star stamp, I'm just going to go around on this piece of cardstock and randomly stamp that star, kind of here, there, and everywhere. I do want to make sure to keep them fairly close together, and in a minute you will understand why, because I want to have it so that if I were to cut this piece of cardstock up, there would be a little bit, that didn't come out too well, there would be a little bit of stars on every spot. There will be no spots with no stars. That's my goal. And if that doesn't work out, we can always add some later. So now that I've got that, let me show you what I've done. So I have a white card base, your typical size, 4 1/4 by 5.5 card base. And now I have all three of these colors, including the peach, stamped with the stars. And now I'm going to take all three of those stamped papers, stack them on top of each other. Now, if I had a strong, heavy-duty guillotine cutter, I would cut all three at once. Our trimmer, the Stampin' Up! Trimmer, will definitely go through 2 or 3 pieces of Designer Series paper at a time. I don't want to dull my blade by trying to get through 3 pieces of cardstock at a time. So what I did was I took my ruler and I made some measurements, okay, so that I could cut them all the same way. And once I was all done with that, then what I was left with was a full sheet of each paper that I then cut in 3 pieces. And now, because I cut 3 different colors into 3 pieces, I have enough of these in different orders to make 3 cards. So I have more. All right, they're all just cut a little bit differently. So on the next one that I make, this might be the bottom, and this would be the middle, and let's see, where am I? This would be the top. Well, that shouldn't be the top, because we shouldn't have 2 of the same. Well, I don't know. But it does work. I think I have a spare piece kicking around here somewhere, but I would have enough to make 3 cards, I promise. All right, so now I have a little bit of all of these showing, a little bit of all of these spaces showing. So we're good to go, and what I'm going to do is just glue these onto my card front. Hey Siri, cancel. My goodness, I have no idea what that's all about. Does anybody hear me saying anything that sounds like his name? I mean, I'm saying words that have S in them, but that shouldn't be enough to make him think I'm talking to him. I just have no idea what that's all about. Okay, so we're going to put that one there, and we're going to just line it up and make sure that it's lined up just right along the edges. And if for some reason it went over a little bit, we could always trim it, so that's not a big deal. And then I've got, where am I? This one. Okay, and I'm going to put that in place. So basically, I sort of created my own DIY DSP, as you've heard me say before, by stamping this, but I certainly didn't do anything fancy or intricate. I only stamped the stars on it. And that was just to make it a little bit more fun and a little bit more festive. So if this was a birthday card for someone, you know, especially a child, it would just be kind of more fun. And if it were a birthday card for a child, I think I might have gone with some brighter colors, perhaps. You know, more like the primary colors. Okay, and then that one goes there. And for some reason I have a little extra, which means I might have cut my card base wrong, because I don't think these were cut wrong. So again, when that happens, that is not a big deal either, because most of the people who will get our cards, are not going to say, oh, this card's supposed to be 5.5 inches long and it looks like it's only 5 1/4. It's still going to fit in the envelope just fine, and nobody's going to know, nobody's going to care, I promise you. Alright, so I'm putting a pin in this just to keep it from drying up on me. Alright, and then we're going to get the trimmer out really quick and just make this right. Whatever happened to it, you know, it is a little cockeyed. I don't know exactly what happened there, but we're going to make it okay. Okay, so I even cut off a tiny bit of the green there, and that's fine. And now we have a card that's well balanced. All right, note to self, don't use your cutter on wet glue, because it's not good for your cutter blade. But I'm about due for a swap out anyway, so I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, then I got out, or did I forget to get it out? I think I forgot to get it out. So I just need another piece of one of those colors. Well, it doesn't matter to me which one it is. I don't know what they used in the catalog. Oh, no, they didn't in the catalog. Okay, I take it back. It was a different thing in the catalog. So I just need a piece of cardstock. So I have this box that I keep nearby that has bits and pieces from things that I've used, and they didn't make the final cut, so to speak. So that's fine, because you will not see this in the light. You'll see through it, but you won't see through it once I put it down there. And I'm going to get my little cutter out, the baby cutter. And I'm going to, well, you know what, let's stamp first, okay? Let's stamp first, because I really haven't even totally decided if I'm using the sentiment that they used there. So they used best wishes there, and they did something kind of interesting. I don't know that I can do that. Maybe I can. I'm guessing that they stamped it twice. I could be wrong, but I'm going to go with that. And then they actually decided to use a different color instead of using the one of the colors in here. I'm going to guess that they used Granny Apple Green from the look of it. And so I'm going to pull out my Granny Apple Green just as soon as I find it. There we go. Okay, and I'm thinking that they stamped it twice. So when you're going to case a card, it's probably a good idea to really look at it and figure out what they did. I probably didn't look at it that closely because I have a tendency to think I know what I'm doing, even when I don't. Imagine that. Okay, so I'm going to stamp, I think my Granny Apple Green needs a little ink. I'm going to stamp best wishes there. Oh yeah, definitely needs some ink. Okay. And I'm going to stamp best wishes there. And let's see, I might not have left myself enough room. All right, I have to make a note that that needs some stamping. And then I think what they did was they cut the word best. And I'm going to come way out even though I don't have to. And then that would have been too close. So then they cut the word wishes. This is what I think they did, and then I'll show you the sample again and you can be the judge. I'm going to definitely have to redo this and re-ink the pads, so I won't glue this down. I don't know, this is a little weird. Maybe that's not what they did. I'll have to really figure that out. Sometimes I can find a video that Stampin' Up! Does that shows how they made a card. That's really strange. So I think I would have needed to have more room there to make this square. So like on something more like this, and then have it be, well, something like that. Okay, so that's what they did. What they did, and I'll show it to you because they did a better job than I did, obviously. What they did was they had best in kind of a larger rectangle and then wishes. It's definitely the same stamp, so I just didn't leave myself enough room to do that. So, but you can see how that was supposed to come out, and how I should not be confident that I always know exactly what I'm doing, because if I'm not paying attention, I do not. So there we go. So that's what they did. Instead of using a punch or a die, they just kind of did their own thing. So that is card number 1 with a note to re-ink my Granny Apple Green. Okay, so that's as simple as that. It's really basically a pretty simple card. You just got to do the cutting, and that will involve some measuring. Okay, card number 2, I think is pretty easy too. So for card number 2, I chose to use Blueberry Bushel and just a very little strip of DSP from, let me show you what this is. So we have 6x6 packs for all of our color families, okay? So this is a 6x6 pack of the Regal colors. This is a 6x6 pack of the Subtles. This is the In Colors for 24, 26. These are the Brights, and these are the Neutrals, okay? And each one comes with, I believe it is 4 different designs. So you'll see there's this floral design with the leaves and whatnot, and every pack has some of that. Every pack has some of this. I tried to have it so that some of all of them were showing, but I guess I didn't quite make it. And it's just really nice because, again, you've got that color coordination, but it's not a designer series paper that's meant to go with a specific stamp set, let's say. So it doesn't really matter. You can use it with anything because it tends to be kind of neutral in design. Not neutral in color, but neutral in design. Okay, so this is actually, I'm sorry, this is not the card, this is a tag. So very simple. I have a 2-inch strip of basic white paper that was, I believe it was 5 1/4 long, and I just dovetailed it to make it look like a tag, okay, make it appear like a tag. And then all I'm doing is taking this 1/2 inch strip of this designer series paper. Let's see, oh there you go, that's one of the other designs, what's on the other side there, and that's a very pretty design as well. I'm putting the glue on the cardstock, not on the DSP, because obviously the DSP is much too long and I'm going to have to trim it, but I didn't want to have to deal with measuring. So now that's just going to go right there on the end, and I'm going to pick it up so that I can make sure that it's lined up right, and I'm going to do that before I give it a press and start to make that a more permanent bond. And then I'm just going to snip off the excess. So that's just a very little decoration going on there, and I do mean little, but it's just to give it a little pizzazz, a little extra color. All right, and I got out the Blueberry Bushel ink because I'm also going to stamp my sentiment in Blueberry Bushel. So for this one, I'm using the sentiment, Happy Birthday. And I'm using that because, well, because it's a birthday tag. So this might go on a gift that you're giving someone, or you could even attach it to a bunch of flowers or a plant or whatever your gift is. All right, so this looks like it's going to be a perfect fit for that. And you know what I'm thinking now that I'm done? I'm thinking I made that too long. I don't necessarily want that to be quite that long. And then I'll show you another thing that we could do, and I can fix that, and I'll show you how in a second. Okay, so I'm going to ink up my stamp, and I'm pretty sure that this one is nice and juicy, so I don't think we'll have the same problem. But I'm going to make sure. You know, I haven't had a cat in this house ever, and I haven't had a cat even in my own house at home, at least not one wandering around, in quite some time, and yet I still keep finding cat hairs. I guess that's the pet world, right? If you have pets, their hairs are just sort of everywhere. All right, so I'm going to move this closer to the edge. I'm going to get my head over the stamp so I can see that I'm in the right position. Actually, if I didn't accidentally touch it, I'm going to move it a little bit more. I can tell already that that's a tiny bit crooked, but with this type of a cursive thing, I don't think it matters too much. All right, so because I've decided that this is a little too long, what I can do is cut this off and then move it over a tad. I'm not going to do it just now. I'm going to kind of wait and see. All right, now we could leave that just as it is, and it would certainly be just fine. Or what we could do is take this really cute birthday cake or birthday cupcake, and of course cupcakes don't have to be for birthdays, but this cupcake stamp. And here's what we can do. I can take my crumb cake ink and I can do two things. I could either go like this on the stamp, or I could take my daubers. Now Stampin' Up! Sells these daubers, but people always ask me where I got the case, and the case I got from scrapbook.com, and it will hold 50 daubers, which is really good because Stampin' Up! Has 50 colors, so it works out quite well. I'm going to be honest, I don't have mine for specific colors because our colors change every once in a while, so I'll just put things on them like dark green, bluish green, dark brown, you know, you get the idea. So I'm going to use the dauber to stamp on the cupcake paper part of the cupcake. And that's all I'm going to do. And then what we do is we call what we huff on it, which means you're just sort of breathing on it like you do when you're trying to clean your glasses. And I'm going to put that smack in the middle on the T and the H. And now I've got my cupcake paper. Okay, and I'm going to do that again. And then this time I'm going to go to the right, sort of near the A and the Y. I'm going to try to line them up, but you know, if they're not perfect, they're not perfect. You know how I'm definitely not about the perfect. I can be a real perfectionist with some things, but then with others, not so much. And then here I'm going to go between the B and the I and stamp that down. Okay, and now I'm going to get my chamois, which I've buried here somewhere. Here we go, I'm going to get my chamois, I'm going to clean that off. And let's see, I think the one in the catalog was very pinky, so I think that was probably meant to be a girl's birthday thing. So I decided to do this one in blue, because sometimes we get a little carried away with the pink, and We tend to just keep thinking girls. I don't know why. I have one of each, so it's not because I have only girls or only boys. I've got one of each. Alright, and now I'm going to look for a lighter blue. This one actually looks good. This one's labeled boho blue. Okay, but I don't want to use the blueberry because the blueberry is too dark and it's going to be the same color as the ink on the sentiment, and I don't think I want that. So I am going to grab balmy blue, I think. I could grab boho blue, but even that's a little dark sometimes. So I'm going to grab the balmy blue. Excuse me, I put the iPad right in front of my stamp case. There we go. Alright, I think this will be a little bit better. We will see. Now this will get a little bit tricky, and I wouldn't expect perfection. I'm not expecting it for myself. And I'm going to ink up, you know, what's supposed to be the icing on the top of the cupcake with the balmy blue. Balmy blue is, I think it's our lightest blue. I think that would be safe to say. I'm going to huff on it. And then I'm going to try to line this up as if I were stamping the whole thing. Only there's no ink on the bottom, and there you go. And I think the balmy blue is a good choice because it's not too dark. And I'm trying not to get any ink on the part that is the cupcake liner. And if I do, again, you know, life will go on. Okay. And then last one. I was just thinking, I was just going to say something about, you know, I'll correct all these things when I post the pictures. I'm not sure if I ever posted last week's pictures. Oh, wait a minute, hang on. I got ink everywhere. Not where I want it. Let's do that one again. I don't know if I posted last week's pictures. I took pictures of them. I edited the pictures, and that may be as far as I got. Sometimes that happens. So if I didn't publish them, I apologize, and I'll get on that tonight or tomorrow. Okay, yeah, that's much better. Okay. And down we go. So isn't that cute? Tell me that's not adorable. It really is. And of course, you can use any colors that you want, any colors at all. Okay, so that's just kind of a fun little thing, and I got schmutz on it. I got schmutz on it. I don't know if it's adhesive schmutz or ink schmutz. Okay, it's not adhesive because the adhesive eraser's not working. I have several erasers. This one I really like for ink. I know we do have the, what do you call it, the sand eraser, and sometimes I like that and sometimes I don't. It's just, it's not a consistent thing. Sorry, I believe I'm shaking the whole table here. Okay, not doing too much, is it? All right. So then I thought what we would do here is just take some of our Baker's Twine Essential Twine, what is it called? Baker's Twine Essentials Pack. There you go. Which has kind of a very vanilla. It has a gray, I think it's basic gray, and then it has a light brown, and it has black. And I'm just going to use the white. And we're just going to, actually don't cut it yet. If you make your bow first and then cut, you tend to not waste as much ribbon or twine or whatever it is that you're using. So it's a good idea to just leave it on the spool and then cut it and play with it, because you're still going to end up wasting a tiny bit, but not as much. Okay. And I think, you know, actually we could just solve the problem of this blank space and that little blotch there by just putting this right there. So for this I would definitely use a glue dot. And what I do is I kind of take my fingernail, when I have fingernails, and I just kind of roll it up into a little log so that you don't see the whole thing. And then I take it off, and then I put it on here. We'll put it on at a bit of an angle, and that helps to disguise that little piece of ink there that somehow got on there. And then you've got a tag, and you could punch a hole in it if you wanted to hang it as a tag, or you could just tape it on. If you were going to punch a hole in it, then you might as well just make your bow there where the hole is. That would probably be a very good idea. All right, so that's number 2, and that's not a card. The next one is a card. Okay, so for this one I have chosen Daffodil Delight as my ink color, but since I had some of the peach pie out, I just grabbed some scraps of the peach pie to use. And then I have a 2 by 5.5 inch piece of basic white and a basic white card base. So this time I'm going to use, let's set those aside for a minute, I'm going to use the flower stamp set, or stamp, and the Daffodil Delight ink. And I'm going to bring in a scrap because I'm going to do with this kind of the same thing that I did with the star. I'm going to just sort of stamp this in Daffodil Delight. Put that on there so it won't make all that tapping noise. Oh, but then look, I got a bunch of stuff on it. All right, hang on. And I'm just going to stamp this Daffodil Delight non-daffodil flower. Definitely not a daffodil, more like a daisy. A Daffodil Delight daisy. And we're just going to go all the way around. Sometimes we're on, sometimes we're off. Okay, I think that's good. And then we're done with the ink. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take this piece, and then I'm going to take this piece and put it underneath, just so that I have, and obviously I used this scrap to cut out the heart-filled hexagon. So I'm going to put those there, and it's going to need to be trimmed, but I think what I'm going to do then is to get some glue. Let's get that out of the way for a minute. Get some glue along the edge of this, and probably don't need to go all the way. What am I doing? Nope, there we go. Yes, that's what I want to do. Good grief. I just have to get it out of the way so that that little cutout isn't showing. Then I'm going to flip it over, and that's when I'm going to kind of zhuzh it a little bit. Oh, look, it's another cat hair. I tell you, it's just amazing. Okay. So that's just to give us a little hint of color coming off the side there. And yes, I could have used Daffodil Delight, but I felt like this was a reasonably complementary color, and I love to use up my scraps as I go, if that's possible. Okay. So this definitely needs to be trimmed, but it looks like it's just this that needs to come off. So we'll snip that away, and that was just a really good use of a scrap that might not otherwise have a life. All right, now I can butt this right up against the edge, or I can leave a little border. Sometimes I do one or the other. Doesn't matter at all. It's strictly personal preference. So I'm wondering how things are up north. I can't see comments. And last week when I tried to see them on my iPad, I almost disconnected myself. So that was a little nerve-wracking. Yeah, I'm kind of afraid to play with it too much. Okay, so I am going to put it right up against the edge, I think. And then I just kind of go like that to make sure that I'm really in the right spot. Okay. And then I've got that needs a sentiment. And let me see. Oh, I do need a thank you card. I do need a thank you card, so let's make it thank you. I was looking to see what all the choices were. So, and oh, it looks like the thank you will just fit on the hexagon, so that's good. And then I just want to get my pad out, make sure. And then I'm wondering if I should stamp this maybe in the peach pie. That's what I'm thinking. And of course, didn't I put that ink pad away someplace, like where I can barely reach it? Or did I not use, no, I did use the peach pie. Oh, it's right here. Yeah, it's right here. Yeah, I think I'll use the peach pie. So that's peach pie on peach pie, so it won't be really dark, but I think that'll be okay. Yeah, putting it here on the pad really helps to keep it, because on this glass mat, it just seems to make a lot of noise. That helps a lot. I'll have to remember that. Okay, let me straighten that out, or try to. It really does help to get your head right over what you're stamping. It actually helps a lot to stand up and stamp. Everything's a little precarious here, so I'm actually kind of afraid to stand up. Okay, there we go. That's looking good. And then I'll put that on with some dimensionals. And then we will be done, and I just want to show you another card. Not make it with you, but show you a card that would be a nice variation on one that we just did. So just a reminder, celebration ends on the last day of February, so you just have the rest of this month to purchase things and earn celebration items. And the catalog, as I just mentioned, that one ends the end of April. So if you have a stamp set like this one that you're interested in, that's from the mini catalog, so you only have until April to purchase this one, maybe till May 5th. And then there are things that I'll be demonstrating in the coming weeks that are also from the annual catalog, because I think sometimes when the holiday catalog comes out or a mini catalog comes out, we get all excited about that, and then we forget about the annual catalog. And we really don't want to do that, because that's our biggest catalog, and it has lots of good stuff in it. And certainly some of it I have showed you before, but some of it's been quite a while since I've showed you. So there we go. Thank you. And then it's white inside, so you don't have to do anything in there. You could decorate the inside. Why don't we? Decorate the inside with just a little bit of, I tell you, I put something down for 30 seconds and it's gone. Let's get the flower stamp out again. And let's get the pad out again, just to be on the safe side. And let's stamp some flowers. How about like 1, 2, 3. And we could, if we wanted to, put 1, 2, 3 here, but that might be overdoing it. Some people might think that's a little too much. We'll just leave it there. I forgot my scrap paper, so I stamped on my phone. Oh, look at that. Pretty much just wipes right off. So that's good. Alrighty. So the card that I wanted to show you, but for a minute, let's go back to card number 1 that I have to redo so that it looks decent. So this is card number 1 with the sentiment, best wishes on it. And actually, they did theirs straight. I think it might be kind of fun to do it a little wonky, like following these lines. I think I might do that. So anyway, that's the other card that we made. And we have this paper pack that is in the, I think it's in the annual catalog. It's a lot of fun. It's part of the Full of Life suite and the Friends for Life bundle, and it's called Full of Life 6x6 paper. And it's got, it reminds me of like artists' things, like palettes and whatnot. So this reminds me of like a huge watercolor palette. So we've got that, and on the other side we've just got these beautiful kind of watercolor washes in different colors. So we have this one that's blue, and it kind of, but it's actually, it's, I want to say ombre, but it's not exactly ombre because it's blues and purples and other colors too, so it's not all the same color shade. And then we've got this one, but that one also has pretty watercolor on the back, and then we've got this one, which is what I used, that looks like a color wheel almost. And on the back of that one, there's some beautiful swirly stuff. That one looks like alcohol ink. And it probably was at one point. And what they do is they do the artwork and then they photograph it. Okay, and then there's this one with the green, but on the other side you've got the, it's kind of like a rainbowish thing, and so on. So this is just really pretty, really bright, but if you're not into all these wild designs on the one side, the other side is pretty much neutral again as far as design goes, not so much color. So what I did was I took one of those sort of color wheel type things, and I cut it right in half at the 3-inch mark. Okay, so this was the other half of it. And I just cut it right in half. It's 6x6 paper. I cut it right in half. And then I took a piece of that bokeh paper, and that was a scrap that I had left over, and I put that there just to make up the difference, since it didn't take up the whole thing. I could have just put it over there. And then this could be done the same way as this, with your sentiment kind of right here. I think I'd want to cover up that little section there, so whether I used a circle or the modern oval punch or the hexagon punch, I think I'd put the sentiment right here. And I just thought for someone who doesn't want to do this, you know, the extra work of the stamping and the cutting, you got this and just cut it in half and you're good to go. All right, so these are the cards that we made today. And then there is the tag. What did I do with the tag? Oh my goodness, I tell you. Here's the tag. I don't know how a person can put something down and have it disappear so fast. There we go. So these are the ones that we made today. So it was really 3 projects, and this one just showing you what you could do with that paper. All right? So thank you so much for tuning in and watching me. I really appreciate it. Watch on the replay, watch live. Makes no difference to me. I love having it either way. When you do watch, though, please make a comment. Tell me where you're from. Say hello, something, because that really does help the analytics on Facebook, and when I move over to YouTube, that helps it's very big in YouTube. It helps a lot, as well as subscriptions, okay? And it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't put you on any kind of a list to give me a thumbs up or to like something or share something or make a comment, so I do really appreciate it. I'm liking that tag so much. I think that's almost my favorite thing we made tonight. Now I'll have to find somebody to give that to put on a birthday present for. I'll see you 1 week from tonight, and you have a great weekend and a great week coming up.